Hello, Third Farm. So today's session is gonna be on web technologies. So as we've been introduced already, we know that the internet um, is described as a network of networks, multiple networks connected together. That these networks actually connect billions of mobile devices, laptops, microcomputers, mainframes, supercomputers, etc., that are used in all the commercial, government, and even educational networks. So we're gonna be looking in today's session. We're gonna be looking at uh, identifying and defining the main services provided by this so-called internet, explaining resources required to access the internet. We're gonna list and explain services provided by the internet. You guys are gonna be able to differentiate between what's a modem, router, and a switch if you've heard these terms before. And you're gonna appreciate the use of dial-up, broadband, cable, and generation services for connecting to the internet. So let's get started. So today's businesses, especially businesses, and I will focus around businesses, they set up websites on the internet so that or they use the internet and then use websites in the internet for three main reasons. The first one is for advertisement. So businesses can advertise what they do, what they sell, what they offer, etc. Okay, they can also email people, or people can email businesses to require inquiries such as the orders, the cost of something, the request of something, etc. And businesses can also use the internet as a mean of reaching international audience, not only nationally but internationally. Okay, so big businesses such as Nike or Adidas or Forever 21. Now we're all the way in Belize and we can see the promotions, advertisements, the prices, etc. of these businesses, even though we're in Belize and their main headquarters are in the United States. So these are the three main reasons why businesses go to using the internet to the use of websites. Okay. Now the internet overall, on the other hand, provides many services that we can look at. Okay, so apart from businesses using it for the sole purposes that we explained previously, the internet uses services that are provided by the internet, and businesses use these services. Okay, so we're going to look at these services, and the first one is electronic mail, which is known as email. We use it every time. Okay, if we have a question for a teacher, we send them an email. Whenever something goes up with Google Classroom, you guys receive an email notification. So this is a method of communication between computers on networks, and computers, not only laptops or desktop, but also mobile devices. Okay, the E in the word email represents electronically, which uses special software from one computer to another anywhere in the world via networks such as local area networks or wireless local area networks, among others. Okay, so the email, whenever you send an email to someone else, the email is then kept in something called an electronic mailbox. Okay, and examples of these electronic mailboxes are known as Microsoft Outlook, which maybe you haven't heard this before, or Gmail. Gmail is the one that we use for Google Classroom. Okay, so Gmail is an example of an email software that uses some electronic mailbox for us to connect between computers by sending messages electronically. Okay, so I bet you knew this already, but this was just an explanation, a formal explanation of what is actually electronic mail. The other service provided by the internet, the other main service, is data exchange. So data exchange occurs on the internet through various reasons, but the two main reasons how data exchange occurs is through the use of upload and download. So sending data to another computer over a network is known as uploading, and receiving data from another computer via a network is known as downloading. We learned this previously, but this is just a recap. So the correct name of uploading and downloading in the internet is known as data exchange. The other main service is instant messaging. What is instant messaging? So this feature allows users who are connected to the internet at the same time to exchange text, images, video, or even audio messages in real time. Now these examples or brand name services that are instant messaging are Facebook Messenger, you can do all of these things here, and WhatsApp. These are very common. So the next time you use the application WhatsApp or the application Facebook Messenger, among others, please do know that you're using the feature or the service that is provided by the internet, which is instant messaging. The other service provided by the internet is the World Wide Web, which is represented as www. Okay, so the World Wide Web is popularly known as the web. Okay, so this is the main way of accessing information over the internet. So the web is based on information which are linked and viewed by web browsers. So we can view web pages, we can view these pages of information which are on the internet with the use of something called a web browser. Okay, so by clicking, whenever we access a web page or whenever we want to access something, a page on the World Wide Web, we sometimes encounter ourselves with sometimes some things that are called links, whereby we click with the mouse on these links, and these links are usually underlined words displayed in different colors. So whenever we click on these underlined words, it's going to take us to a certain web page or a certain page that has information on the internet using web browsers. Okay, so millions of web pages are available on virtually every topic imaginable. You've seen this. You can type anything, absolutely anything. For instance, how many seconds does it take for a dog to bark? You can search it and it's gonna tell you there. Okay, the other main service provided by the internet is File Transfer Protocol. Now this is very important. This is known as FTP. So a protocol in this case is a set of rules and procedures that govern transmission between components in a network. Okay, so each network has a set of standards for transmitting information, so that the computer that is located in Germany, for instance computer A located in Germany, can understand information coming from computer B that is located in Belize, or computer C that is located in France or Brazil. Okay, so these computers are located internationally, and the file transfer protocol is a set of rules or procedures that will allow, or that will represent the transmission between these data among these computers. Okay, so FTP is a name given to the transfer of files across the internet. Okay, so as this image here is implying, FTP, okay, is in charge of allowing all these transmission of files among this computer all the way to this computer, and then this computer going all the way to this computer. Okay, so FTP is the internet equivalent of a file server, with files made available on thousands of internet computers for downloading into individual computers. So the FTP, the file transfer protocol, consists of thousands and millions of different files available for everyone on the internet. Okay, and without this file transfer protocol, these files will be non-existent. Okay, so millions of users again use FTP to download updates to popular software, such as updating your Microsoft Word, updating your YouTube app, updating your WhatsApp application, updating your Excel application. Okay, so because of file transfer protocol, we are able to update these things. All right, and it also allows us to upload or send files to certain websites. For instance, uploading something on Google Drive, for instance, or uploading a picture on Facebook. Okay, remember that whenever we upload something, basically is go somewhere, it needs to be stored somewhere, and because it's stored somewhere, it's known as the FTP. Okay. Now, connecting to the internet. Excuse me. So computers can be connected to the internet in different ways, and once your computer connects to the internet, we can say that that computer, or that you as a user, is online. So whenever I connect myself, my computer, my phone, to the internet, I can say that I am actually online. Okay, so accessing the internet. To access the internet, you need a modem, router, or a switch, which is connected to telephone lines. You need a network interface card or a network adapter, which is usually already installed on your computer. You also need a software on your computer or mobile device, such as web browser or email packages. And you need internet services provided by your internet service provider, in this case, such as Digi. We're going to look at these more in depth. Okay, so let's look at the first component that is required for accessing the internet. The modem. Okay, the modem. Now, the modem represents something called modulator/demodulator, which is provided by your ISP, and your ISP is your internet service provider, which is a company that provides you with access to the internet. We're going to be looking at ISP shortly. Okay, so a modem is a modulator and demodulator. What is the function of the modem? The function of the modem, or the sole purpose of the modem, is to convert analog and digital signals between your landline and the internet. Okay, so modem does the conversion. The signals or the data or the analog data coming from outside of your house needs to go through something called a modem, so that the modem converts that analog signal and then it converts it into digital signal so that your computer can understand what's happening. So, however, if you're using more than one computer with a modem, then you will need something that's called a router that we're gonna cover shortly. So modems are basically for one single device, okay, or one single computer. Now, router now. Router is known as the traffic cop of a network. It's called a traffic cop because it directs data from the modem, as I mentioned previously, and sends it to different devices that are connected to it. Okay, so the function of the router, let me tell you this. The function of the router, some people have to purchase a modem, and then they can either connect this modem to a desktop, okay, but if they want to share this in the internet to multiple devices, then they will connect this modem to a router, and then the router will take all the analog signals or the digital signals coming from the modem, because it has been converted already, and then the router will divert it or send it to multiple devices on a house or on a network. Okay, so devices such as computers, laptops, game consoles, digital televisions, and even mobile devices can be connected through cables directly to the router or wirelessly. So because it's called a router and because it has an antenna, it doesn't mean that this router will work only wirelessly. No, this router can also have Ethernet cables that are going to be connected to devices. Okay, so now the question is, do you need to have at home, do you need to have a modem and a router? Well, luckily, companies or internet service providers such as BTL or Diginet, they bring a device that this device has integrated. Part of it is a modem and then part of it is a router. Hence, we do not need a modem or a router. We can just have devices that do the same function of modem and router together. Okay? Now the other component is a switch. So a switch expands the network on expands the number of devices that can be connected to a router. So some routers, such as Netgear models, this is a D-Link model, combine three networking components together. They combine the modem, the router, and even the switch, instead of having separate devices with cables joining them. And an example that we can see this switch is at school. Okay, so we have a modem router that brings the signal from the landline post, and this signal comes directly into the modem or router, and then the modem or router is disconnected to the switch, which the switch expands the number of devices that can be connected to this network. So every computer that is in a computer lab has an Ethernet cable that goes to the switch, and then from the switch to the device. Okay. Now, what's a network interface card? Very interesting. So a network interface card is known as NIC, or a network adapter, already comes installed on your computer. Okay, so these devices are either used for the purpose of wired cables, whereby if you have a laptop, you can have a connection like this, and then an Ethernet cable gets connected into this port. Some laptops that do not have this, or even your phones that, remember, you don't have to connect an Ethernet cable into your phone. So your phone has a network interface card which is used for wireless connections. Okay, so there are wired connections and wireless connections for NIC. Okay, so this network, both of these are hardwares, adapters that are usually already part of a computer or laptop, and it provides the computer with a dedicated connection to a network. Now these cards can either be, as I mentioned, wired or wireless. Okay. Now, software, web browser. Now, a web browser is a software application that allows you to access resources and websites on the internet. Now, mobile devices have applications that are web browsers. Computers, desktops, laptops have applications that are specifically for these devices. Okay, so now these millions of websites available can be accessed using a web browser. Examples of web browser are, we can see Microsoft Edge, which is actually a new one. We can see Firefox, we can say Google Chrome, which is the most common one, this one here, and Internet Explorer. And for Apple devices, we can see a Safari. So these are examples of web browsers. Now, internet services, known as ISP. So internet services are typically a subscription with a company. So whenever you want to have internet at home, if you want to have internet at home, more than likely you have to visit one of the internet service provider offices, and you're gonna have to request a plan for a monthly payment. Okay. Now, examples of ISP here in Belize are Smart. We have internet with this NextGen. We have Digi as well. This internet, I think it's called Central TV and Cable Internet, I think, but they provide internet services as well. And then BTL provides something called Diginet. Okay. Now, services that include among internet services are dial-up, cable, DSL or broadband, and wireless 3G or 4G. Now let's look at these services that are included because of services or of internet services providers. Now, an internet service provider such as these companies can either offer you something called dial-up, something called broadband DSL, something called cable, or something called 2G, 3G, 4G LTE. Let's look at these. The first one is dial-up. So dial-up is a form of connection that is the slowest way to connect to the internet. It's actually really slow. You need to use your landline telephone to connect to the internet via something called dial-up. Okay? This means that you cannot use a phone while you're online. So dial-up will literally take a connection from the post, from the landline telephone post, and it will take that connection directly either to your phone, or if you want to use the dial-up service, you're going to disconnect it from your phone, and then you're going to connect that same cable onto your computer. And usually when you access this, you're gonna encounter yourself with a login page where it says welcome to Dialog, and then you will not be able to answer or make phone calls from this phone because you have disconnected the connection from their phone and you have connected it to your computer. Okay, you can ask your parents at home if they've used dial-up before. Dial-up is not used anymore. Okay, broadband DSL. So this method uses something called DSL, which represents digital subscriber line. Okay, so it uses a phone line, somehow like a telephone network, to connect to the internet, but it is not necessary to have a landline as previously to make the online connection. Okay, so it uses phone line as well. It uses something called a telephone network, but it doesn't have to be directly from the landline. Okay, however, if you do have a landline, broadband allows you to use the phone while being connected to the internet. So in broadband, the phone lines or telephone networks do not require a landline, but if they do require a landline, you can use a phone while connected to the internet. At home, more than likely, if you have a plan with Diginet, you have a broadband DSL. Okay, so it will be a device like this that's connected directly from the outer connection that brings the internet, okay, without the need to connecting it to the phone, etc. It just goes directly and sends data to all the devices. Now the other one, for instance, NextGen provide cable internet. Okay, so many cable television customers connect to the internet using cable modems. Okay, and cable modems sends and receives digital data through connections to the fiber optic cable television system. Okay, so cable television such as DirecTV in the States or NextGen here that provides cable and internet, okay, they use this service as broadband service. So however, this broadband service consists of a single cable, and then this single cable can give several channels. Okay, and because it gives several channels, it provides high-speed connections. Okay, so users can also access the internet at home on a digital television rather than having a computer. Sometimes your computer is accessing cables through the internet because of this cable modem. Now the question is, can you connect a phone using a cable modem? The answer is yes. These devices also provide wireless connections. The last slide. So another service that is provided by the internet service providers are associated with mobile phones, since they are used to connect to the internet through your provider. Now these are known as 2G, 3G, 4G LTE. These are strictly for mobile devices. So however, these connections are slower than broadband and cable. The amount of data sent and received is restricted by your provider, who can charge you monthly rates for the data that is used, the data that is downloaded. So if you have data on your phone, you can purchase data on your phone, guys. Remember, you can purchase, if you have Diginet or BTL, you can purchase data, but however, that data will be limited to maybe $2 for 200 megabytes, etc. Or maybe $30 for 5 gigabytes of data. Okay, so it's limited, all right, because you are charged monthly rates or daily rates, etc. Okay, so however, there are companies or universities that offer free Wi-Fi for users who are within the vicinity to avoid using up personal data allowances. So sometimes schools or universities or companies will offer this as free. Now the G, what does the G represent here? The G refers to generations of mobile phone systems. Okay, and LTE represents long-term evolutions. So that's it, guys. Thank you for paying attention. Then you can look at the other video.